Love playing Scout but think he's too fast? Sick of being able to heal yourself with the sandwiches heavy? Wanna try a meme loadout that hasn't been done to death like Soldier but can still get kills unlike Spy Crab? If you said yes to any of the following, then this is the video for you. How yins doing? I'm Ian, and this is my TF2 How to Killstreak series, where we cover the best and worst weapons TF2 has to offer and show you how to get a killstreak with them, because everything's a bad idea until it works. This episode will be very different from previous ones in the sense that we'll be covering an entire subclass rather than just an individual weapon. As you've no doubt deduced from reading the title of this video, we shall be covering the Fatscout today. Now, without further ado, let's get into it.
I think I'll take Sasha out for a steak dinner tonight. What do you think about that?
No!
The Fatscout is a subclass for the Heavy, wherein the Heavy in question uses their shotgun instead of their minigun. It is also customary, though not at all required, to put on cosmetics that make you look more like a scout and then pretend to be a scout who ate one too many sandwiches. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say fried chicken. Want to make sure I offended as many vegans as possible here. If you are new to using this subclass, I advise using the Brass Beast as your primary weapon, since its slower rev time and slower everything really makes it ideal for ensuring that you revert back to playing Fatscout should you accidentally start shooting people with your minigun. Since as Fatscout, you should almost never be using your minigun in the first place except in instances where your shotgun does not do enough damage, but you have more than enough time to rev up properly, such as when dealing with sentry nests. Now, when playing Fatscout, the number one thing you need to consider is your positioning. Oh, who am I kidding? That's the number one thing you should be thinking about when playing TF2 in general. After all, if your plan is just to charge at the enemy head-on, you're gonna die. I don't care what class you're playing, you're going to die. And before some of you start talking about Ubercharge, need I remind you how much of an endangered species medics are in TF2's casual mode. Returning to the subject of positioning, your map orientation relative to opposition is especially important with the Heavy, since, unlike other characters such as Scout or Soldier, you don't have meaningful ways to reposition if things go poorly. Ideally, you should find crazy flank routes on your preferred maps and try to go for those crazy kills you can find. However, if you're watching this video unironically looking for advice, you probably don't have the skill to do that consistently. If you haven't yet figured out the best flank routes and silly ambush spots, my advice is to memorize the health kit locations and learn to zigzag. After all, it's a lot harder to kill someone when their movement isn't in a straight line. And with your shotgun of choice taking up the equipped slot that your sandwich would usually take, you need to know where to heal at all times. After all, medics are an endangered species in casual mode, and Heavy is the slowest character in the game, meaning you're going to be taking hits a lot more than you would with the other classes of TF2. Meaning knowing the locations of health kits and dispensers becomes critically important to Fatscouts, especially when compared to normal sandwich-using Heavies. However, while map and player awareness are critically important in TF2, one cannot forget the importance of one's loadout. Speaking of which, let's cover that next. When it comes to your primary weapon, I've already explained why I believe the Brass Beast to be the best option. However, feel free to equip whatever primary you desire. After all, when playing Fatscout, you'll rarely be using it in the first place. And I'll be completely honest with you here, if we ever get a Heavy update, I hope we don't get a new minigun, but rather something we can equip in this slot other than the minigun to help Fatscouts out more. But let's not get our hopes up for an update that I'm pretty sure the majority of Valve's staff have forgotten was ever promised to us in the first place. So instead, let's go on to what kind of shotgun you'll be using when playing Fatscout. In total, you have 3 options of firearms to choose from for the Fatscout. Firstly is the stock shotgun. The stock shotgun is never a bad option, giving you 6 clean shots in order to do decent damage at close to mid-range, making her a reliable tool for any player, especially since she's a stock weapon, meaning even new players who just installed the game can play around with her as they please. However, as much as I love the stock shotgun, or Old Reliable as I've named mine, she doesn't really give you much to talk about. So let's move on to the unlockable variants of her, shall we? The Panic Attack has a better switch speed, more pellets per shot, and a fixed bullet spread, making her ideal for those wishing to clear out sticky bombs or are having trouble landing shots on more evasive characters such as the Scout. I recommend a Panic Attack for those who prefer to run around with their melee out first, such as most Fist of Steel heavies outside of combat do, as well as for Fatscouts who try to go for a cheeky melee kill in the heat of combat occasionally. My personal preference, however, is with the family business. No, I am not talking about accounting, I'm talking about the third shotgun the heavy can equip. Whilst this baby hits lighter on a per-shot basis than her contemporaries, the family business compensates by having a larger clip size and firing faster, making her ideal for those who prefer a spray-and-pray playstyle like myself. With this weapon, I found myself killing even fellow heavies with somewhat consistent reliability, since reloading was less of an issue. If you wish to acquire a family business for yourself and can't be bothered with trading, I recommend you stop watching this video and start looking up videos about economics and finance instead. However, if you want the shotgun of the same name, you'll want to combine reclaimed metal, a frontier justice, and a home wrecker in a crafting menu. When it comes to melee weapons, the most common weapons you'll see on Fatscouts are meme weapons, such as the frying pan, the holiday punch, and a conscientious objector. This is because most individuals who play Fatscout aren't taking the game seriously in any capacity, and this is reflected in their melee of choice. Another popular weapon to use when playing heavy in general, not just Fatscout, is the Fist of Steel, since they are the heavy's only real counterplay option to the sniper. I've already done an entire video on how to get a kill streak with the Fist of Steel, so if you're interested on my full thoughts on that weapon in particular, I'll leave a link in the description to that video. Another equally popular melee option for the heavy is the Gloves of Running Urgently. The speed buff they provide will help you get to the front lines faster. In addition, they make the Fatscout feel more scout-like. However, a more fun, albeit less reliable method is with the KGB. No, not Putin's former frat house, I meant the killer gloves of boxing, you idiots! These babies give you guaranteed crits on kill at the cost of a 20% slower swing speed, making the risk of going for melee kills on the slowest class in the game actually worth it on occasion, allowing for some amazing kill streaks with the right setup. All in all, I give the Fatscout an underrated out of 10. It's quite a fun subclass, and honestly, if we ever get the heavy update, I hope this subclass gets some love. Perhaps a dispenser backpack that you can wear instead of using a minigun? I don't know. Doesn't need to be competitive, just a fun tool for those playing a fun subclass. That's all for now. Like the video if you did, comment what weapons and subclasses you want to see me cover in the future, and subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. I've been Ian, and this has been my TF2 How to Kill Streak Guide to the Fatscout. And stay tuned, the hot hand is coming up next.